and welcome back, everybody, to another awesome episode of Roots and Wings. My name is David Solomon. I'm a fractional chief revenue officer.
My
Jennifer,
name is Jennifer He, and I am a fractional chief marketing officer.
what's fascinating about the two of us is more often than not, when you go to organizations, the two roles we're here are not aligned. And a lot of people are like, sales, marketing, what's the difference? They aren't, are they supposed to work together? What comes first? It's a chicken and egg. Today, we're going to take some time in this episode to focus on the marketing angle and especially marketing strategy. And by
Mhm,
the time this episode is done, we hope you understand how important marketing is for sales and for your
mhm,
organization. So,
mhm.
Jennifer, let's start from the beginning. I said chicken and egg.
Yeah,
Do I start with sales or do I start with marketing?
yeah. So I would say, this it all depends on your strategy. I work a lot with uh, small business owners, early growth stage, uh, company owners, entrepreneurs. I know strategy is a big word, but I
Mhm.
would clarify what strategy is with them, like with simple sentence. Um, it is about making choices to win your customers better than your competitors. It's also about working on the right questions right, not the wrong problems. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Working on the right problems right, not working on the wrong problems right. Uh,
Right.
so, whether marketing first or sales first, it depends. Sometimes you wanted to uh, go with sales first, and sometimes you wanted to go with marketing first. So let me clarify those two concepts. Um, Marketing is about getting attention and generating leads. Sales to me is about closing that leads. You agree, David?
You know
Like to
what? I go actually even further, and I agree beyond it. And folks, I'm very fortunate to be teaching for the last 8 years MBA students and those who are actually in retail management at McGill.
Mhm.
And it just happens to be that this was my first class this week, and I was telling this to Jennifer off air.
Yeah.
I have marketing students who said, "I'm taking your class because I don't understand why we don't get along. Why do sales and marketing get along?"
Mhm,
And I said, "I'll tell you exactly why." And Jennifer, you hit the nail on the head.
mhm.
What is the role? I wore both hats. When you're in a smaller organization, Jennifer,
Yeah.
you don't have two people, one head of marketing, one head of sales.
Mhm, mhm,
And there's a good idea and it's a bad idea. It's a terrible idea for some organizations
mhm.
because the individual who has both hats, it's hard to balance both sales and marketing. Honestly, I've tried. I know others have tried. It's not the ideal. Why?
Through training, you can. I've seen
Oh,
that.
100%, 100%. I went through a lot of it, and it's still hard because
Yeah,
I'm
but
a
very
sales
different realm.
right.
That's why.
I'm a sales guy, and
Yeah.
sales is about this, the face to face, the contact, the this. But step one of the sales cycle is the lead generation.
Mhm,
And where sales and marketing hook up, and you said at the beginning, is we at marketing have to generate the best leads.
mhm,
And then we pass the ball to sales, and sales goes and should close the deals in theory. Now,
mhm,
the problem is, have we really defined, and we talked about this in another podcast, have we really defined the pain point? Have we
mhm,
really defined our unique solution? And have we
mhm.
really been communicating with the right customer?
Yes.
What I see in organizations is that they get excited about clicks, they get
Mhm,
excited about people who filled out a form.
mhm,
But have we really? And this is a coordination between sales and marketing.
mhm,
Sales goes out, makes presentations, doesn't close. Well, why not? It's
mhm,
not the blame game.
mhm,
Did we properly communicate what we do?
mhm,
That's the role of marketing, but
mhm,
sales is blamed. And then the reverse happens. We sales will blame marketing for doing bad jobs because they're unable to close. I think that really the this is a concerted effort.
mhm,
The fact that they're separated in two departments is
mhm,
where I think there's a mistake. I
mhm,
think we need to bring them under one overarching part of the organization with one budget, with one KPI.
mhm.
Then we will work better together and we'll coordinate better together.
Yeah.
But marketing, it starts with marketing because to
Mhm,
ask salespeople to communicate
mhm,
LinkedIn or whatever, yes,
mhm,
marketing is the power to do the mass,
mhm,
where sales will do the single.
mhm,
And I think that, and you said the word strategy.
mhm,
So if I'm a business owner today, Jennifer,
mhm,
how do I start a marketing strategy? Because
mhm,
every agency they speak to tells me, oh, you got to do digital. I got to do this. I got to do.
mhm,
How do you get them started?
mhm. So I will get them started with actually business strategy because what do you want marketing to do? Right. So you talk about, marketing and sales, and those two functions blame each other. But then,
Mhm.
there is an overarching, say, CEO role, and
Right.
marketing or sales. And I met a lot of like business owners and entrepreneurs, CEOs, and they actually have no idea what strategy is, what marketing is, what sales is, and another very important concept is brand.
Mhm.
The CEO should own the brand, not marketing. So those concepts, they're not very clear, and nobody's talking on the same page. Let's align that first. What do you want marketing to do? To me, I always clarify getting attention, generating leads. Then let's talk about, the business. You need to have a value proposition. So I would put vision and mission later on. But, let's do cash flow first, then vision, then people, because that's smaller businesses. I'm not talking about big corporation because you and me, we both have big corporate background. So I will go with this route, and so that businesses, they feel more secure, peace of mind, because marketing needs to be, um, like I would say in smaller firms, accountable for P&L as well, and that will ease the CEO, the head of the organization's mind, because marketing is not only about uh, expenses, cost center. I'm gonna pause for a while.
Yeah, no, I think what you said was absolutely beautiful. I'm working with one client and I asked him, well, what's your marketing budget? And he said, well,
Mhm,
we don't have one. I said,
mhm,
what do you mean you don't have one? Well, we don't have one because we just go with what we feel is best. So we will analyze everything and say, well, if this is going to work, what's the ROI?
yeah.
And I said, look, I have bad news for you. I get trade shows. I understand a trade show has its own marketing aspect of it.
Mhm,
But unfortunately, today we don't know what is the trigger that will
mhm,
make someone say, I want to talk to Jennifer, for example. So we have to communicate in various ways,
mhm,
whether it is, you said, pushing the brand,
mhm,
pushing or expressing the brand,
mhm,
communicating. There's so much communication we need to do today. People want to be educated. They
mhm,
don't want to be sold.
mhm,
And they want to see how can you make my business better? How can you make, if we're talking business to consumer,
mhm,
I need to create with marketing, as you know, I've
mhm,
been out to tell you, you're the brand expert,
mhm,
a value proposition that someone's going to want to come into my store and purchase.
mhm,
It's the same thing in B2B.
mhm,
I already have my suppliers, I already have my partners, I already have my business functioning.
mhm,
For me to make a change, you need to communicate a really good and effective reason because it's going
mhm.
to disrupt my business, it's going
Yeah,
to disrupt my flow. It
yeah.
better be worth it.
Mhm,
Sales can't do that alone. It
mhm,
has to come from marketing to start to
mhm.
communicate, get that initial
Yeah,
conversation going. That part is so critical,
yeah.
but business owners want sales to do it.
Mhm,
And there's too much of an obstacle in front of a salesperson to get
mhm,
it done,
mhm.
especially in complex products or services.
Yeah.
So when you say strategy, I laugh because businesses don't believe in strategy. They believe in
Mhm.
their day to day.
I
They
think
believe
I
in,
think the onus is also on us to explain what that strategy is, because I think what they're afraid of is a big corporate strategy. Then it's gonna, they feel it's gonna waste their time, they cannot execute. That's why I said two sentences. It's about making choices to win customers better than your competitor, right? It's about
Right.
solving the right problems right, not the wrong problems right. Because
Well said. Well
if
said.
you are solving, like busy solving the wrong problems, and it's going to cost you down the road. And also, I wanted to introduce another misconception I've seen a lot under marketing is um, outbound marketing versus inbound marketing. Those are like something that smaller business owners, they're not very clear about, whether I'm going to use push strategy or where I'm going to use pull strategy, right? Push is you always go out and push your communication, and pull is people know you and they find you. That's why I wanted to introduce brand into it. So it's about you making choices whether you're going to invest at the beginning on your brand, then later on your life, sales and marketing will be easier, less cost. And some people choose to invest in push marketing, say promotion, or sales at the beginning. I'm not building the brand at the beginning. So again, it is a strategy, right? You make this decision. Are you
I,
gonna build build a brand?
Mhm.
Put more weight on building that brand, or put more weight on building that brand later.
I
So
think
that's a choice. No
but
right.
let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
So when you say you build the brand, and it's an extremely critical philosophy.
Hmm.
But if I'm a small business owner,
Yeah.
uh, and I'm saying small business, two, three, $4, $5 million,
Yeah.
you just said something that in their ears sounds expensive,
Hmm.
but it isn't. It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. There is a roadmap to it. The roadmap first is I'm gonna ask you, do you know what a brand is? I always ask business owners because you were like, oh, expensive. Then, do you know what it is? Why do you
I,
think it's expensive?
I think that this is where business owners get caught up in the what you just said is in the large corporation mindset of,
Mhm.
wow, brand, that means I got to buy billboards and
Yeah.
I got to spend money on paraphernalia and promotional goods and whatever. And I
Yeah.
told
See, those
business,
are all push strategy. Those are not, brand.
right.
Those are
So I
not
said,
push.
listen, but your brand is what do you, at the end of the day, when I think of your company, if I think of ABC,
Yeah.
what am I thinking of? That's
Yeah.
your brand.
Yeah.
And
So
I,
yeah, I always have four elements. I tell business owners, those four elements are the brand is the value of a promise, right? So the
mm,
first element is a promise. Then that promise is consistently kept. Second element, consistency. The third one is an experience, how people experience you. And David, you mentioned, the reputation. So what people talk about you when you are not in the room. So that's the third element. Then the fourth element is the future you. You need to communicate now and claim that future you so that you work towards that. So, understanding those four elements, then let's build around that, right? What kind of marketing assets, what kind of communication assets you need for people to get that, about you. Um,
that's
so let's
beautiful.
start from that. And if we chunk it down, so a brand is such a big concept, but if we chunk it down, and it's not, that like, yeah, so scary to achieve, right? Step by step.
I
Mm,
think this is what's missing for a lot of business owners is they don't realize is and I'm a huge fan of the customer experience, the customer journey.
yeah.
I want people to say, when I work with Jennifer, it's a triple A experience. It's a 5-star experience. Call it whatever it is.
Mm,
And because that's your brand. And as a business owner, and you as a business owner, we are our brands, and people know when they work with us, they're like, oh, I know what I'm going to get with Jennifer, I know what I'm going to get with David. And I don't have billion-dollar marketing budgets. Really, what you see that I put out on LinkedIn, who
Mhm,
I am, my
mhm,
conversations with customers,
mhm.
my my interactions, my delivery at the end of the day, that's
Yeah,
me, that's my brand.
yeah.
And that, I think, is what business owners are forgetting, is to communicate that. And
Mhm,
I'll give you one clear example. I have one client who I've said, well, what makes you unique over all of your competitors? And they said, we're in a very bad service industry. People in general take service for granted.
mhm,
We own it. I said,
mhm.
there you go.
Yeah,
That's what I want you to communicate to
yeah.
everybody.
That's the essence.
That's the exactly. And
Yeah.
what people don't realize is they think is it that simple? I said, it's exactly that simple. It
Mhm,
can be that simple. Sometimes it's not that simple.
mhm.
But when you're talking to people, and by the way, your brand evolves, right?
Yeah,
If you look at Apple when it started in the 1970s to
yeah,
today, it's
yeah,
not the same brand.
yeah.
And we're not talking about logos. We're
No,
talking about the brand.
yeah, it is a system, but it's not like you're gonna build it in a day. As I said, we're gonna chunk it down, and it is a communication, but it's a system. It's not only communication. You need to deliver your brand. You need to deliver that experience, right? And also you need to think about the future you. So yeah.
So for me as a sales guy, and I
Hmm.
always put myself in that bucket because this is really what I am. I am a sales guy through and through.
Hmm.
Where I love marketing is you're supposed to make my life you're making my life easier.
Yeah.
When we're aligned and
Yes.
I go out into the market and I say, "Hey, I'd like to speak to you."
Hmm.
"Oh, I've heard of you. I
Yes.
know about you.
Yeah.
Yes, let's talk." All of a sudden, you've made that first step of the journey way
Hmm.
easier.
Yeah.
And that to me is where it's a beautiful thing. Now,
Mhm.
when pardon me, when we go through the journey, I sit with people in marketing and I say, let me walk you through my sales journey so that you understand what I go through and
Mhm.
what may need to be better communicated, differently communicated,
Mhm.
sharper. I don't know, because these are the objections I'm dealing with. And so this is like a ping pong match between sales and marketing.
Mhm.
It's like I give you information, you do something, it comes, and we continue to align as we scale, as we grow,
Mhm.
because things change, things evolve, the brand is improved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but without understanding, and I'm really struggling where you talked about strategies. Business owners who do not understand what's the problem they're solving,
Mhm.
you're making marketing's life impossible, and sales won't happen.
Mhm.
But we'll blame both of us
Mhm.
because we're not generating, we're not producing, and then we're going to cut. Let's cut marketing because it's not effective. Whatever.
Mhm.
When you sit with a business owner and you say, "Talk to me about your company," what's the
Mhm.
first question you would ask them?
Oh, what problem are you solving for whom? So that's a value proposition, right? How are you different? So
And when you
yes.
speak to those owners, when I say when you speak to some of those business owners,
Mhm.
how many of them have a real clear understanding of what you just asked?
Um, for smaller business owners, you know, I would say over 50% of them are not clear. Um,
Wow.
but I emphasize with that, I'm going through it myself because I would say, okay, you are in your, I would say I&D stage, and that's fine. So you're diverging, right? You're trying this, you're trying that. If you're not clear about that, then let's work on your um, offering rather than, until you have an offer that works, there is no point of spending money on marketing. Right. So, and I would introduce sales techniques into doing I&D. That's why I said there is, it's not a sequence like um, I&D first or sales first or marketing first. It all depends on um, you making choices. Like for instance, selling before building is a technique in R&D. Because I have an idea, I wanted to see if it will sell, so I sell it first.
Right.
So that's being used a lot. Like Elon Musk used that a lot, doing that Roadster, that car. So he
Hmm.
raised like 100 million or something before the car, before the model was built, right? So you have an idea, you sell it to people, see if people will buy, and that is a we use that as a research technique, and that
So
is
you used an acronym, and for those who are not familiar with the acronym, the IND, what does that stand for?
sorry, that's research and development
In developers R
of
and
your
D,
product or services.
right? So
Yeah.
and look, I got to tell you, and this is your question and my question is exactly the same,
Hmm.
and I think this is where people do not understand the alignment between the two of us. It's hard for me to tell a salesperson to communicate when I don't understand what it is we're doing, how we're doing it, and most importantly, why we're doing it
Yeah.
and to whom we're doing it. And when I have that clarity, wow, it's way, way, way easier.
Hmm.
And I got, I'm dealing with one client whose product is very commoditized.
Hmm.
And he's like, how do I get out of this commodity where everything's now about price?
Hmm.
And we've had to kind of rebuild him a little bit to focus this way as he wants to go into the US market.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh wow, that's it. That's I'm not familiar with how to work that. I'm like, good, let's figure this out together. Let's
Hmm.
figure out the pain point, let's figure out the solution, and then we'll find and then we'll discover who the right customer is. I said, and then to your point, let's test it. Let's
Yeah.
go out and find out if it works. If it works, good. And this is where business owners are literally they want guarantees
Hmm.
because they're you can't give them guarantees, not in marketing and not in sales.
Hmm.
Okay.
There are only two things in life that's guaranteed. You know that one
Yep.
death, one tax.
There's a, there's a third one I always add now, children giving you heartburn. But the truth is you're 100% right. There is no guarantee. And unfortunately, with different things that change in this world,
Hmm.
and I think I always tell people 4 years ago, 5 years ago, none of us talked about a pandemic.
Hmm.
COVID changed the way things were. I'm
Hmm.
not saying every time is a COVID level change, but
Hmm.
if tomorrow, look, I'll give you a good example. If I'm in the plastics business right now in Canada,
Hmm.
new legislation, I'm in trouble
Hmm.
because I have to all these one-time plastic use. My business model has to change now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we're not in control all the time. But going back to the marketing and with this, I want to wrap this up, Jennifer.
Hmm.
If you had to leave business owners with one mindset, one way of viewing marketing that is so crystal for them that they're going to go, wow, I need to do this,
Hmm.
what would be your best advice for them?
Um, you know, get clarity on what you want marketing to do. Getting attention, generating leads. So with that clarity, and we can talk about uh, strategies and tactics. So basically, what do you want marketing to do? You need to ask yourself that question.
And how can you help them figure that out, Jennifer? If someone was to say,
Mhm,
I don't know, how would
mhm.
you help?
So then I would say marketing is about getting attention and generating leads. Then let's talk about your offering, right? Your products and services. And again, going back to value proposition, uh, who your customers, who are your customers, what problems do they have, what's your solution, and how are you different? So let's go from that. If
That's good.
you're
That's a great.
you don't have if you have a commodity product offering, let's look into the differentiation of your offering. Maybe we need to introduce like innovation methods to um, guide you through how to do it differently. Either it's from having a different offering, or let's repackaging, repositioning that. So it's all coming from, let's agree on marketing generating attention and leads,
And I
whether
think
we
that's
can
a
do.
great starting point. Yeah, I think that's a great starting point, Jennifer. And I really love what you just said, is because if you understand that marketing is to generate leads,
Mhm.
that's where the conversation starts, and how you're going to strategize from there. It's an evolution, and it's an ongoing evolution. And
Yeah.
Jennifer, you're in our conversations, this is your one of your areas of expertise. And I would sit with Jennifer, and just that there's so much incredible knowledge in there, that you need
And
to
also,
really
doing, not only knowledge.
not only knowledge, but executing as well. And I think that's the key, is that Jennifer's been there, done that, for
Yeah.
small business all the way to large corp. And there is a way to take from enterprise level ideas to a small business
Mhm.
and really make it your own.
Yeah.
But the conversation, you need to have that conversation. Folks,
Yes.
with that, we are at the end of another episode of Roots and Wings. We want to thank you so much for joining us on this episode. There are many,
Thank
many
you so
more.
much.
And the idea here, folks, is how we can help you scale from a marketing and from a sales perspective.
Yeah.
And so, if you have any questions, feel free to leave this in the comments in right here. Subscribe to this channel. Podcasts come out all the time. If you want to connect with Jennifer or myself, our information is also here, and we'd love to have to answer any of your questions. So
Yes.
until next time, folks, plant those roots, spread those wings, and
Thank
watch your growth profitably. Take
you.
care.
Take care.